This weekend was the grand opening of the Esports Arena, or ESA, in Las Vegas, Nevada. The new venue hosted Battle for Vegas, which featured a prize pool of $25,000. With that much money on the line, the tournament drew in some big names: MKLeo, Nairo, Tweak, Salem, Fatality, Mistake, Cosmos, Ally, Larry Lurr, and many more PGR players attended. In total, there were 154 entrants. With a relatively low number of participants for the amount of money being offered, the event was stacked. And there were 18 of the top 50 players in the world here. In addition to those 18, dozens and dozens of top PR regional players appeared. These are probably players who would be ranked somewhere in the 50 to 100 range globally on the PGR. And every single pool had a killer in it, a PGR player who was your second match. Take my pool, for example. If I had won my first set, I would have faced Salem in my second set. Yeah, almost all local Vegas players had similar situations, and a few rose to the challenge to body some PGR names. In particular, Brosenex and Lycan took PGR wins. Brosenex turned it up at another event, top 8 at Rise last weekend, and now 9th at Battle for Vegas this weekend. That's back-to-back regional tournaments in the top 10. Now these wins are pushing him onto the national stage. Brosenex beat Ally today, one of the all-time best players in the game, and it was an amazing win. If Brosenex can keep this up, he'll be on the PGR very soon. Now take a look at the top 32 players of the tournament. Vegas had Lycan come in at 17th, Gabe at 25th, Urameshi at 25th, Vin at 25th, Ty at 25th, and Technicals at 25th. And just outside of that, we had about 6 more at 33rd and about 10 more at 49th. The ESA was incredible. I hadn't been to Luxor in over a decade, but with the ESA setting up shop, I'll probably be there monthly now, if not weekly. The venue was beautiful, the atmosphere was great, the production values were television studio quality level. It's something that definitely should be experienced if you're in Las Vegas. One downside to the ESA being at the Luxor for locals is that it's on the strip, so parking is $10 and they have a 9 p.m. cutoff for people under 21. Now this means if you're under 21, you're going to have to be accompanied by an adult. And now both of those issues are going to cause problems as the bulk of the esports players here in Las Vegas are teens or in their early 20s. And hell, a good deal of them are in college or high school still. And in a lot of cases, that means they can barely pay their venue fees, let alone parking and food or drink at casino prices. Those issues will need to be figured out before weeklies truly begin rolling. But I think weekly Smash tournaments at the ESA here in Las Vegas will be amazing and will draw in a lot of locals that just don't compete regularly. The only other issue I had is that the staff seemed a little oblivious to esports in a way. Very few of the people working understood who players were or what was going on. Also, the interviewer messed up names and didn't really have a grasp on esports. But for the most part, everybody let it go. We kind of chuckled or shrugged it off. I mean, there's going to be these rough patches as esports gets accepted into the mainstream and people are learning about it. I mean, I went through that myself. And hell, depending on the genre, I still am going through some of that where I'm still trying to figure everything out. It's just you have to be careful because you don't want to discredit yourself by saying something that's obviously wrong. And lastly, I'm not one to buy into top player privilege, but there should be a bit of courtesy here. The staff made Salem and K9S Bruce wait outside from 10:30 to 11 a.m. on Saturday morning. And neither of those guys complained at all. I don't want to give that impression. And everyone was really cool and didn't bother them either. But those two are top players and probably should have been taken into the venue with the volunteers. But that's just my opinion on it. I will say that I was doubly impressed by the amount of pure spectators at the ESA. Usually spectators are also competitors, but not this time. I saw tons of adults and a lot of families just watching the matches. They hadn't competed at all, but were just generally interested in the competition. Now that speaks volumes about the future of esports, especially the families. So many parents were there with their kids, and they were just asking questions and enjoying the tournament with their families. If that kind of support continues to grow, esports will soon become as mainstream as television. As always at these big events, I met a ton of amazing players like Fatality. I finally met Foe, Karna, Arma, and AE Mare. And I also met up with some of the out-of-state players I met previously at Rise and Genesis 5. It was great to catch up with those guys, and it was also nice to meet some more top players. The Smash community continues to impress me with their willingness to speak to me about my vlog, offer advice on matchups, and just generally getting better at the game. One thing that people should note if you're questioning whether to get into the game or how the community will act, everybody is friendly and welcoming. You can even hear Nairo comment on being welcoming to new players as the Switch version of Smash comes out. On top of all that, I got to hang out with all the Vegas players in the new venue. I'll say an interesting thing to note, though, was the number of Vegas players that I had never seen before. And talking with them, they were either unaware of local tournaments or said they only come out to majors. I'm interested to see how they integrate into the community with the ESA and other venues, or if they only stick to the ESA. I think this is an interesting problem. It makes me curious about the Smash bubbles even inside the community. I don't know if they were casual players trying out the tournament for the first time, or if they truly just didn't like coming to the locals. I don't know, more to come on that later as we see where Smash on the Switch and the ESA takes us. The top 8 was sick. There were so many incredible moments that it's difficult to pick which set was my favorite. But the entire run was full of countless highlights. There were entire games where I was on the edge of my seat because the action was non-stop. Now in comparison to that, we come back to my play. I lost to Vidello. Now she was a local Vegas player, but then moved back to SoCal. So I knew going in I was going to have trouble fighting her, as I never beat her in friendlies and never faced her in bracket. When the match started, I was doing fairly well, but then I got nervous and kind of fell apart, and she beat me 0-2. And she moved on to face Salem and lost to Salem, which is to be expected. I then went on to fight a me gunner and losers, and I was like, a me gunner? I've never even seen anyone play that character, so I knew I was in for trouble. It was a constant barrage of different projectiles. I mean, I thought Mega Man was bad. I couldn't even get in on the me gunner at all. But after the match was over, I asked for some advice, and AE Mare was nice enough to tell me what to look out for and how to get better at the matchup. He also told me how to kind of work around projectile characters a little more. The funny thing about this was that I later found out that AE Mare is the best me gunner in the world. So on top of never playing a me gunner, I ended up playing against the best one in the world. So needless to say, I went 0-2 against him. And despite the losses, I didn't feel depressed like I did on Friday. I knew these competitors would be tough, and they were. Plus, I was able to get in a ton of friendlies, which made me feel better on the day. Overall, the experience was amazing. I met some wonderful people in the community and got to hang out with a bunch more who I've known for a while. I look forward to seeing what the ESA becomes and what it means to esports here in Las Vegas. You can check out my progress in esports at beyondbetapodcast.com. Follow me on Twitter at SteveJShockey. Subscribe to my YouTube page called Beyond Beta Podcast. I've also finished setting up my official Twitter for Beyond Beta Podcast called @BeyondBetaPod, but bear with me as I get it all linked up. Have a good one.
Keep them in, I guess, just, if anyone's new, especially during those times, a lot of locals are going to have new people, so just be kind to them. They're new, they don't know anything, so try to help them out. If they have any questions or if they want to play with people, just play with them, help the community grow.
Thank you so much. Those are some wise words right there. Thank you so much. Congratulations.